My daughter begged to go to her friend's sleepover. I'll never forgive myself for saying yes. My daughter Lily had been talking about her new best friend Mackenzie for months. They met in 3rd grade when Mackenzie transferred to Lily's school in October, and apparently they were inseparable from day one. Lily came home every afternoon talking about how funny Mackenzie was and how they sat together at lunch and how Mackenzie's mom always packed the best snacks. I was thrilled because Lily had been struggling since we moved. We'd relocated to a new state after the divorce to get some distance and start fresh, and it had been hard on her. Seeing her finally happy felt like a miracle. I met Mackenzie's mom Renee at pickup one afternoon, and she was wonderful. Warm smile, easy laugh, offered to carpool whenever I needed help. She said she was a single mom too, and knew how hard it was to juggle everything alone. We started texting about school stuff, and she always remembered to ask how I was doing, and it felt so good to have another mom who understood. By December, they were having playdates every weekend, and Lily always came home glowing. When Lily asked if she could sleep over at Mackenzie's house for her birthday, I didn't even hesitate. I packed her overnight bag with her favorite pajamas and her stuffed elephant and drove her to Renee's house on Friday night. Renee answered the door and hugged me and told me not to worry about a thing. She texted me updates all night saying the girls were having a blast. I went to bed feeling grateful that our fresh start was finally working. The next morning, I drove to Renee's house to pick Lily up, and there was a for sale sign in the front yard. I walked up to the door and knocked, but no one answered. I looked through the window and the house was completely empty. No furniture, no boxes, nothing. I called Renee's phone and it went straight to a disconnected number message. I banged on the door screaming Lily's name until a neighbor came outside. I asked her where the family went, and she said no one had lived in that house for months. I drove to the police station shaking so hard I could barely steer. The detective pulled up Renee's texts and traced her phone to a burner purchased with cash. He ran the address and found out the house had been vacant since August. I kept saying that was impossible because I'd dropped Lily off there a dozen times, and he asked if I'd ever actually gone inside. I realized I hadn't. Renee always met us at the door, and I never once stepped foot in that house. The detective asked about Lily's father, and I told him we'd been divorced for 2 years after he broke my jaw and 3 of my ribs. I told him my ex had supervised visitation only because a psychologist testified that he viewed Lily as property and showed no empathy when discussing what he'd done to me. I told him that's why we moved across the country. The detective asked if I had a photo, and I pulled one up, and his whole face changed. He made a phone call, and when he hung up, he said, "Your ex-husband hasn't been in Texas for 3 months. He's been here since September." Everything clicked into place, and I thought I was going to throw up. Renee was his girlfriend. Mackenzie was her daughter. He had followed us across the country and enrolled Mackenzie at Lily's school to befriend my daughter and get close to me. Every playdate and every carpool offer and every text about being a single mom was part of a plan he'd been building for months to take back what he thought belonged to him. The detective tracked my ex's phone to a cabin near the border, and when police arrived, they found 4 suitcases packed and 3 passports with fake names. My ex had purchased one-way tickets to a country with no extradition treaty, and they were scheduled to leave that afternoon. Lily was sitting on the floor crying because Daddy said they were going on a fun adventure, but Renee was screaming and he wouldn't let anyone leave. When they put my ex in handcuffs, he looked directly into the body cam with this calm, flat expression and said, "Tell her she should have given me what was mine. Tell her this isn't over." Renee broke down and told police everything. She said he told her I was an abusive alcoholic who had kidnapped Lily, and he was just trying to get his daughter back. She said he was charming at first, and then something shifted and she got scared, but by then she was in too deep. She said he picked out her clothes and told her exactly what to text me and made her practice her stories until they sounded natural. The detective told me they found a notebook in the cabin where my ex had been planning this for over a year. Pages about my schedule, my habits, which parents I talked to at pickup, what kind of mom I trust. He had tracked us across the country and spent months building the perfect trap. My ex got 12 years for kidnapping and attempted international parental abduction. Renee got 3 years. Lily still asks about her best friend sometimes, and I never know what to tell her.